Okay, so I'm Councillor Mike Stubbs. I'm the shadow lead for finance in town centres in Newcastle under Lyme, formerly the leader and many roles on Newcastle Borough Council in the past. Sadly, they were in opposition at the moment. But one of my other key roles on a national stage is as an executive overview member. So you'll learn more about that as we go through the presentation. This presentation is usually an hour long, so I'm going to go right through it. So, but what I will do is, if there's any questions during the roundtable, we'll happily do that. And if there's any more detailed questions, then I'll leave contact details through Case, and you can get in touch with me. Okay, next one. Okay, so what is the Co-operative Councils Innovation Network? I don't want to particularly read off everything that's on there, but basically what we're here to do is we're not here to talk about things, we're here to action things. There's far too many talking shops, there's far too many people just talking a good game. What we want to do is deliver a good game. It's open to any council in the United Kingdom, but it's also open to any social enterprise who would like to join us. What we're trying to do is to get the best of both worlds, so whether it's local government or the social sector, to work together to deliver for the good of local residents. At the moment, a lot of it is very corporate, a lot of money going out in the wrong area, even going out of the country. What we're trying to do is make it that procurement allows councils to work with the smaller social enterprises, cooperatives, things like that. Okay, so even this is a little bit out of date. This was done in late October. There's now 49 member councils across the country that operate within this group. Associate members, so I'm very quickly describe the two. Members are full councils that are in control of the council. Associate members are either opposition groups within councils or town, parish or community councils. They join as associate members. And affiliate members, they are the social enterprises and the co-ops that we work with. They all work together, so 123 members now it is. The supporters are basically individuals that are not aligned to any of those three that join as an individual member. That's something that we only started in the last couple of years, and that number is slowly growing. Okay, so the 47 councils from the original slide, we covered 12.5 million citizens and a £20.4 billion budget. So that's the amount of money that is within the group. 20.4 billion is a lot of money that could be better used, we believe, than the way it currently is, going through these private hedge fund type businesses. The money could be pushed down to local communities. So just picking a few out on there, different sizes. Birmingham, obviously, one of the biggest. They're going through, obviously, their own pain and suffering at the moment. The really nice thing about it, they're still members. We thought we'd lose them, but we've managed to keep hold of them. We actually managed to convince their outside auditors that the investment in us was worth it. So that's the biggest council. And then looking further down, so Tamworth Borough Council, for example, is a relatively smaller one that I know a little bit about. But most of these are unitary councils, but they're all over the country. So Westminster, obviously, up to Birmingham, and then there's Inverclyde up in Scotland. So we've got a good base across the whole of the UK. Okay, a little bit more about the associate members. So these are the town councils, these are the opposition groups that want to align. Just a little tiny shout out. So the smallest organisation within our organisation is Kisgrove Labour. I'm proud to be a member of that. That is actually an opposition group on a town council. So it doesn't get any, and we were the first ones we had to ask permission this time to join. We get the same rights as everybody else because we pay the same entry fee. But what we managed to get from that is access to all these different groups. You can see here it isn't just Labour, there's Green Party, there's cooperative parties as well.
Is that where Jackie Weaver was based at Kisgrove?
No,
Oh.
Jackie Weaver was just up the road.
Yeah, it was.
Thank goodness. Okay.
Oh, sorry, I've gone.
Back one. Okay, so these are a snapshot of the cooperatives and the social enterprises that work with us. there are more joining all the time. Most people will know, obviously, it is UK. But locality do a lot of work for central government. What we try and do though is make sure that they've got, you know, social values. What we don't want to do is just to work with people. So even the likes of Anthony Collins, which is quite a big soliciting firm, they've got a whole set of paperwork about the work that they do in the cooperatives. They are specialists in cooperatives, so we're working with them. I'll tell you a little bit more about them in a bit. Okay, so what are the benefits of joining the organisation? Okay, well, there's just, what, 12 there? I'll pick out a few that I think are probably really pivotal. The officer network, so when you as politicians or want to join the organisation, the first thing your officers say is, well, what's that all about? So what we do is there's an officer network that allows them to work with other officers across all the other authorities that are members to very quickly learn what it takes to be a cooperative council. What other ones we pick? Well, influence policy thinking at national level. So we are the biggest now LGA special interest group, for those that don't know what that is. So under the Local Government Association umbrella, there are small groups that form for various reasons under the LGA, so basically sort of saying that you are good at what you do. You ought to get accepted as a special interest if you pass certain tests. We're the biggest special interest group within the LGA, and because of that, it also makes it that any political party can be a member. We are not allowed to be, it can only be Labour, it can only be cooperative party. So we have had, in my town council was a Conservative group that was a member. Sadly that's gone, because Jonathan Gullis, that name, he had a lot to do with that, unfortunately. But those are the benefits. So I'm more than happy to supply these slides
I
as well.
think some of the benefits for us is the case studies.
Yes.
And the sharing of ideas, and I think
I'll mention them.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So these are the values, though. So it says here we have to be honest, not a cooperative ourselves. So up until very recently, the way that we are structured made it impossible for us to be a cooperative, so we operated under cooperative values. The next time you see the slide, fingers crossed, project I'm working on with a couple of other key people is to make the CCIN a real cooperative. Now the senior councillors in the room will understand that that's not easy because you have to be then owned by your members, and a lot of local authorities are petrified at entering into new partnerships at the moment, but we think that we are slowly, we would have loved to announce this in February to our General Council. It's not going to be ready just then, but certainly by this time next year we will be a registered co-op, and I'm very excited about that, because it's my pet project as well. Okay, so we talk a good game. So how do we talk a good game? This is how we do it, through the values and principles of our organisation. Again, I won't read them all out to you, but what we do, everything that we do has to meet at least one of these. Every report we write has to meet one of these. We're not, again, just about talking a good game, we want to deliver a good game as well. Okay, and as you mentioned, case studies. So a lot of what we do every year, every member is asked to contribute at least one thing that we do using cooperative principles in all local authorities, and they're all published in our yearly review. So that's one for 2024. Better than that though, if you log onto the website, there are hundreds of actual. So anything that you think you want to do, the likelihood is somebody's done it before. If you want to do something, there might be a toolkit, there might be a report. And if it's brand new, even better, because as we'll talk about in a bit, there's some funding out there from our organisation that will help you find a cooperative solution to any problem within the local government family. And there they are. So we offer two types of funding within the organisation. We have something called a policy lab, and we have something called a prototype. And that, they basically speak for themselves. Prototype is a small amount of money that will fund you to do exploratory work really into what you want to do. It'll allow you to bring in a consultant maybe, hopefully one of our partner organisations. We'd encourage you obviously not to bring in KPMG. We want you to, we want you to bring in somebody that's got our sort of core principles. If that's successful, and not all of them are, but we still publish their work. If people want to then move on, we have something called the Policy Lab, which is more in-depth funding between 10 and 20,000. Every now and again it creeps over the 20. And we do a major piece of work. The one thing we say with Policy Labs, that has to be across different authorities. You can't just be, so we'll have a lead, so it might be that Oxford Leeds and Newcastle on the Line Labour Group do a piece of work as well. Most policy labs have 5 to 6 partner councils and a couple of the affiliates that join to make sure that the piece of work is as grounded as it possibly can be.
Mike, can I just ask on the policy labs there, so would you count a combined authority if it's working with the 10 local authorities?
So the Manchester and the West Midlands are both members.
But they could be considered to be working across.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. These are just some examples. So when we don't want to just funding work and it then just go into a drawer. That's not what we're here to do. So whenever one of the core requirements, funding is only properly released when there is a report that comes out that anybody can look at. These are quite modern ones, so that's a very substantial report. The community-led housing, if an authority wants to start getting back into what used to be called council houses or community housing now, it's there, it's off the shelf. It follows all the rules that you have to do. It talks about funding, it talks about all the pitfalls and all the ladders to clear those pitfalls. But again, not everything has been covered. So for example, AI. So we've got a council this year that's doing a prototype on that and working with 3 or 4 other councils how the local authorities, the local government can use AI to improve things for not only for financially for the council, but for the residents. And again, so what we tend to do, that was a leaflet that you can download, tells you all the things you need to do if you want to apply for funding. There'll be a version for 2025. That funding usually opens anytime now, actually February, March. Again, if members join, then straight away, there's no waiting period. If you're a member, you've paid your fees, everybody's allowed to bid in for these funds. Okay, and then these are the sort of the things that are going on at the moment. So these are the smaller ones. So So this one's about helping cooperatives and small social enterprises to set up fundraising. And there's a lot of people out there that will do it, but it's very expensive. What we want to try and do is to give people the tools to do it themselves. Employability and skills, empowering residents, these are all exploratory pieces of work though. These aren't the big pieces. These are somebody's sitting down, usually an officer, helped probably by local councillors, working with somebody from a social background to do these pieces of work. And then these are the bigger pieces of work. Obviously I've mentioned the AI, the ones that I look very much looking forward to reading are obviously these top 3 more than anything. The co-op development, how you can make your areas thrive with co-ops and social enterprises. The middle one talks for itself. It's a really important piece of work. And this is talking about procurement and making it easier for you to reach out to your smaller social enterprises to deliver work on your behalf. There's so much against that under current rules, but there are ways to do it. This one here, actually, they're actually working with us on my parish council. So Westminster down in London, I'm up in Stoke-on-Trent, and we're doing a piece of work with them to see if the health inequalities are the same in areas like where I'm from, and obviously now in Westminster. Okay, so it's all a lot of work, so how do you know that you're getting the best value out of it? So what we've done is we've set up a training programme. So there's straight away, as you join, all the members and all the officers get access to this training suite. First of all, this is about us, a little bit of a history, and then there's an induction programme, and it'll take you through very much what I'm doing here, and you'll go through step by step by step. Co-operative College set that up for us. And then as you get more and more involved, you can then take it on to a next level. Okay, so what do we want? It's not what we want, but what we suggest when you join as a new council under the CCIN. These are the things that we would like you to do within the first or second year. I think probably 2 years, because some of these will take work. We'd expect you to be really, and it's not mandatory, but we'd expect you to be moving towards your area being a living wage. We'd expect you to have signed the fair tax declaration. Have you called a climate emergency as a local council? All these things should really be in train. The climate emergency, a lot of that stuff the councils will be doing anyway. But what funding have you brought in because you've called we talk about all these different things. Living wage. So for example, in Newcastle on the line, we almost insist everybody who works with us as an authority has to pay the living wage, and more and more and more we're expecting our employers within the borough to also pay the living wage. There's no quite strict rule to make them do that, but more and more we're encouraged to do that. Obviously the Modern Slavery Charter, we tend to use the co-ops version of that, the co-op parties version of that, and then there's more sort of interaction between staff teams and member teams. Okay, and then this is what's happening in the background. So delivery is the first part, and then this is how you do it. So how can you get the best out of the organisation? Okay, it's all about working together. Engage in the WhatsApp groups. There's groups for all the various members. There's groups for different levels of administration. There's something out there for everybody, and there's people out there to help you as much as you possibly can. Something that we're also doing is there's a purchasing system, so a procurement system basically, within the group that you could bolt onto yours at any council. You can bolt that on, it's no problem, it's past all the rules required by the council finance systems. Bolt that on, and it encourages you to use the members, the affiliates that I mentioned earlier on. So the big two things that I really push as a member, and also these are things that I think we should be doing because it makes good sense. So community wealth building. How can we better spend the budget that we get from a little bit of money we get from central government, which is reducing by the day, but more importantly, the money that we collect from council tax, how can we best use that in our local area instead of the money percolating out to other areas or other styles of business? Go through these. So it's about really pushing a inclusive economy. Again, legally you can't say, well, we're not going to employ anybody from outside of the borough. But what you might say, well, we'll score you higher on your procurement if you employ local people. We'll look at community banking. We're looking at community businesses. Are you a living wage employer? If you want to work for us, you've got to be a living wage employer. And it's all about making the councils and the sort of smaller, the social economy work closer together. And then it's very similar, but this is more about helping local enterprises get up and running, asset transfer. So if we've got council buildings that we're putting out, don't sell them off to corporate. Try and sell them to local community groups, community land trusts. And all these things are all about building cohesion in the local economy and the local community. We don't want the money to be going out. The worst case scenario is the money to be going out to the country, and it happens a lot, especially within the large unitaries. There's no reason why people can't be doing local projects. You know, community energy is the big one that Labour Party are talking about, obviously with the Co-op Party sort of with their arm up the back. It should be a no-brainer, it should be happening automatically, but it's something, thankfully, that is happening now. Okay, and then every year we also produce a year in review, and it goes through all the things that we've done, but more importantly, it looks about the success stories across our members. It's not about us as an organisation. Our organisation is one person. One person is a paid member of staff. I don't know how she does it. If the truth be told, she's amazing. Don't tell her I said that. Wipe her out the video. But so all the money that we get in from membership fees gets pushed right back out through those schemes to basically either to fund the prototypes or actually, and I haven't got them in here, we also go to conferences, so we Labour conference, we go to, last year we went to Lib Dem conference. We don't, again, because of our status within the LGA, we cannot just be about one party, we shouldn't be about one party, it just naturally falls that most members are Labour and Co-operative. Thank you very much.
Thank you.